Right, one of the main areas of Regmarks 4 will be the import side of things, because that's how you get your numbers in on a regular basis. So we can either click import up here, which will take us directly to a new import, or we can go to marks, imports, and then choose to import data. So if we go through to here, we have 5 options at the top of the screen. These are all explained within the link here. The one that is most relevant is the sold if not found. What this will do, as it explains here, is that if you've got a dealer with 100 numbers one week and then the following week they've got 98 numbers and they haven't put any other new numbers on the system, they've just sold 2, then when you pull it in and if you flag it as sold if not found, then the 2 numbers that were not on the list will be flagged as sold. We don't activate that by default. You have to tick the option, because they may well send a file out that is a partial file, and if you import a file of say 20 records and there are 5,000 already on the system, then the sold if not found would delete all of the other numbers that weren't in that list. So that is something that you have to activate. So we will now get on to the actual import process. So we choose whether it's a stock or a commission import. We're going to do commissions at the moment. We are going to choose dealer E that I've created. It is a VAT based import, and if I pull in the file for dealer E, the import screen shows the first 5 rows. As it happens, this file has only got 5 rows anyway, so we've got Bob 1 to 5 and at different prices. The system then looks at that file and says, well, it looks like the registration number's in column 1 and the price is in column 2, so we can accept that, and we will now import. There is a process that runs behind the scenes that sits there and periodically fires up and picks up any jobs. So because there's only 5, it processed it really quickly. Obviously the average per second is means that we processed that 5 within like a few tenths of a second, and but that is useful when you are importing sort of 10-20,000 numbers. You can get some idea as to how long it's going to take to finish. So we have done that import now. If we look at the summary, we will see that obviously, because we had no records in here initially, we've got 5 new records. That logs item lists all of those other items in that one item, so we're obviously only seeing new items here, but it says that we've got Bob 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and they were newly created. So if we come back out to the import screen, and now we're going to do another import, and in fact before we do that, if we go to the mark screen, which is home, you'll see Bob 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 all allocated to dealer E, and they've got a tag that we set up for Bob, and we've got the buy price, we've got the sell price, which is the markup that we've allocated as £100, and then we've got the total price with the VAT. I'm not going to concentrate on the mark side at the moment because this is an imports video, so we are going to import another data file, and again this is going to be a commission, and we're going to do dealer D, and then I will pull in this second file, which it's got the same 5 numbers in as the first file, but dealer D has got the first 3 of them cheaper. So it reads that in, so we've got the 5 numbers, and then we've got 9999 instead of 10, 8999 instead of 9, and 799 instead of 8. But then Bob 4 and Bob 5 were more expensive. So we will start the import. And let that run through, and it should come up momentarily to say that it's done. And if we look at the summary, we can now see there's no new records. 3 of them have changed and 2 have got information. So if we look at the 3 that have changed, Bob 1, 2 and 3, updated to a better source, saves £1, gone from that price to that price. And then the info basically says we've stored this dealer's data as an alternative because they were £1 more expensive. So if we now go back to the home screen, we've now got Bob's 1, 2 and 3 allocated to dealer D, and then we've got 4 and 5 allocated to dealer E. So if we go back to the imports, and we are going to do we've had another file from dealer E the following week, and we are going to flag sold if not found, because the third file that we're pulling in from dealer E has Bob 5 no longer listed. So we click open. We've now just got Bob's 1 to 4, and we'll now start the import. That will run through momentarily, and if we look at the summary, you'll see we've got 1 sold and 4 information. So if we look at the 1 sold, we can see that Bob 5 was marked as sold because it wasn't in the import file. And if we look at the info, Bob's 1, 2 and 3, we are £1 more expensive than the dealer D that pulled them in earlier, and Bob 4 no change, same price. So if we now come back to the home screen, we'll see we've got Bob's 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then we will finally go back to the import screen, and we will now do a deletions file. These don't tend to be provided nowadays, but a few years ago a dealer may well send out a list of all of the numbers that he has sold rather than a complete list of everything. So if we go to import data and say this is a file of deletions, and we are saying it is from dealer D. Now if you recall, dealer D has got the Bob 1, Bob 2 and Bob 3, but dealer E has got Bob 4. So we are pulling in dealer D. So if we pull in dealer D's deletions list, so we're actually receiving all 5, but 4 isn't related to dealer D anyway, so that won't have any effect, and Bob 5 is already flagged as sold. So if we start the import, that has run through, and if we look at the summary, you'll see that 3 of them have been flagged as sold because it was a deletions file. So now if we go back to the home screen, you'll see that the only one that we've got left is Bob 4. So that gives you a good idea as to how the imports work, and you get to see how that affects the numbers on the system.